Souls games often have a boss early on in the tutorial section that most players will end up dying to. The two examples of this happening are Demon Souls with the Vanguard Demon, and in Sekiro you had Genichiro. Now, the reason that these bosses are in the tutorial section is because they are a part of the tutorial. They are there to teach you something. In these games, death is an intended mechanic. It is an essential part of the gameplay loop. Throughout the course of your playthrough, you are going to come across things that feel as bullshit as Genichiro felt or the Vanguard Demon felt. And so the game wants to introduce that to you early. And so that is lesson 1. You are going to die, and you are going to have to learn to deal with it. Now, Elden Ring takes that and adds to it. Elden Ring also has a tutorial boss that you are unlikely to beat your first time through. Just like in all those other games, it was possible, of course, but it was unlikely. And so you're being taught that same lesson. But there's more to it this time. Elden Ring is an open world game. And so there's something else that it really wants to teach you early on. You don't have to smash your head up against a wall trying to break it. You have options. You have places to go. If something seems too difficult, it might be, and you can go somewhere else. And in typical FromSoft fashion, they decided to make sure we learn this lesson by hiring an excellent educator. Let us now take a good look at the Professor Tree Sentinel lesson plan. Tree Sentinel is the very first monster that you see as soon as you get out of the tutorial area. And he is hard. He is much harder than any of the bosses in the surrounding area. He has incredibly high HP, a wide-ranging and aggressive moveset. He also does a lot of damage. So much so that many of his moves will one-shot you, especially if you play as a wretch. Basically what I'm saying is that it isn't reasonable to expect that new players will be able to beat Tree Sentinel when they start out. At all. And in fact, the game doesn't expect you to do that. What the game is telling you by putting Tree Sentinel right there is that just because there's a monster right in front of you, there's a boss that you can access, doesn't mean that you should. That sometimes a boss is so far above your current abilities that being hard-headed and attempting to brute force your way through the encounter through sheer skill and practice might make for a less than enjoyable experience for a lot of people. And so by being so difficult and taking so much effort for newer players, Tree Sentinel is sending a clear message. He's an incentive to go do something else and come back later. Gain some levels, find some better equipment, get a new spell. Some people even find him a lot easier to deal with once you get Torrent. The fact that Elden Ring is an open world means you have a vast array of options. There's a whole lot to explore, a lot of runes to get from a lot of different locations before you have to tackle anything of real significance. Before the game came out, From Software had said several times in interviews that the game was meant to be more accessible, more approachable for people new to the series. And this, I think, is what they meant. The fact that you have an open world is probably what they were talking about. Now let me be clear. I'm not saying that Tree Sentinel is unbeatable. He's very beatable, even when you first encounter him. It's just that it's likely to take more time than most people are willing to invest. But if you are one of those hard-headed people that really wants to beat Tree Sentinel the first time you see him, then he's very doable with practice. And for you, Tree Sentinel gives you a different lesson. That lesson being, there's nothing in this game that can't be overcome. What seemed unbeatable, what seemed impossible on your first attempt, might not seem so on your fifth. With patience and repeated attempts, you will start to see openings, you will start to see mistakes. The boss's patterns will be revealed to you, and you will beat it if you persist. And with these two different types of lessons for two different types of player, Professor Tree Sentinel makes a larger point. That point is, there is no right way to play. Both of these options will lead you into the intended experience. Give up for now and try again, or continue to slam your head against the wall until finally the wall breaks. Both will lead you to valuable experiences, and both are the intended way to play. And that's the end of this video. Thank you all very much for watching.